unload. Turned off a bunch of shit. Hope it doesn't fucking explode again. Yeah, I gotta do some serious PC cleanup. You know? Just serious. Alright. Alright, let's try this again. I'm just having the worst luck with my internet. No, you came back. I'm surprised. Oh, I imagine right now it's mostly discourse about. I figured that's what you meant. I imagine the discourse is mostly centered around the shooting right now in Texas, and if I probably would be talking about it too if I felt I had anything to add. I don't believe I do. I don't have enough known. Like, all I know is right now they're talking about how that the person wasn't wearing any kind of Kevlar body armor as previously reported. And so if I make something about it, I probably will do it after more is known. I know it's the coward's way out for a streamer, I guess, but I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with it. Oh, but yeah, I imagine you have had your fill about Ukraine, especially if you're in Poland. I imagine you've had your fill about it. And I guess if you reverse how often you've had to talk about that with how much Americans have to talk about gun issues, because, like, that is our, like, thing that doesn't seem to happen really the same way anywhere else. Just so. Oh, you're in Italy. Okay. Would that mean you're it pole? Weaponizing it pole. Sorry. We actually have quite a large Polish descended population here, so expect. And if you go down south a little bit in Chicago, there's parts of Chicago that have more Poles than, like, I think parts of Poland. It's pretty nuts. But no, like, yeah. I will say, I would also say, funnily enough, we probably invented the Polish joke as well. But I don't know if that's like a self-flagellation or what's going on there. It's like almost everybody has Polish in them, but they still use Polish jokes. Like, that's pretty common still. But it's like Poland isn't really thought of as a country in those jokes, if that makes sense. It's thought of as like a magical, silly place, I guess. It's really weird. It's a weird cultural thing. I don't know how to really describe it. I haven't heard any good ones in years, so it's probably best that that dies off. Yeah. All right, looks like I got this back going, so... I think a lot of the Italian communities disappearing, at least in my area, has more to do with just sort of the lines of the communities being erased over time. And now just what they have is kind of integrated into the community more than anything else. Because... like, Italians, yeah, and a lot of it is also when that Italians are now considered white when they weren't earlier, and that changes a lot of people's perspectives. Like, that's the thing. Getting assimilated into whiteness changes how your community operates. Oh yeah, no, they hated the Catholics. Like, and when I say, it's one of those things you have to understand. Like white, like who wasn't considered white, like at certain points. Like Benjamin Franklin didn't consider Germans white. You know, that's weird. It's weird by today's standards. So you have to really put it in really bizarre context, and that's why white doesn't exist. White is a category that assumes other things. It's not actually. That's why and white people in the U.S. really don't have a culture because they're the base culture. They're considered the default. It's really, really unusual. Like, I'm not sure how to really describe it. Like, I'm only saying the U.S. not because I don't think it exists anywhere else. Oh, yeah, it's same here. Normally you look at nationality and culture and ethnicity and stuff like that, I would imagine just in general as understanding, but that's... Like, this is a patchwork constructed country that, like people are like, oh, this is a construct, this is a construct. The U.S. is a fucking construct, but white identity informs that it's not a construct, it's always been there. And then you get to the Mormons who literally believe the Native Americans there was a white Native American tribe that got visited by Jesus. So it is which also, I think, informed a lot of states like Utah and stuff and how they deal with racial relations. Like, this is a very strange land. Like, I can understand why it's studied so often, but I think we focus too much. And like I said, I only add the in the U.S. part because I couldn't tell you outside of the U.S. verifiably. And I have not seen it with my own eyes and that kind of thing. I've met Mormons. Talked to them. I've even been to a Mormon fucking baptism. It was Very boring. But like it's American exceptionalism, the religion. It's really fascinating.
From his channel since his viral explosion in the fall of 2016. This story's final chapter continues on the 14th of August 2018 when Andy Warski uploaded a brief and strange video titled "See You Soon."
Jehovah's Witnesses, really? I don't know if you are one, but I'm going to tell you right now, I do not think highly of how the Jehovah's Witnesses operate. I do not know if they operate differently in other countries, though. Here, they enforce a lot of very, very reprehensible propaganda that hurts a lot of people. Oh, you're a Satanist. I'm definitely an agnostic atheist. I don't believe it's possible to prove it. There's too many bizarre claims for it to be proven. Yeah. No, honestly, I have no issue with Satanists, by the way. In fact, the Channel 5 video about Satanism made me want to do a huge thing talking about how Satanism works because people don't seem to understand the idea. So, see, I can't. My problem, I have a lot of problems with Catholicism as well, but most of them are personal and stuff that's happened over time. Also, the Roe versus Wade stuff, and it's pretty deplorable. Like, I have to deal with a lot of Catholics when I go down to the Planned Parenthood and put up a sign about Roe v. Wade. I have to deal with a lot of Catholics yelling at me. So that's part of it. No, Catholicism is most certainly not perfect. But the relation between trad caths and fascists needs to be dealt with before I could feel more comfortable, honestly. Because you end up with dudes like Nick Fuentes being a trad cath. It's just this psychotic thing. But of course, the molestation should have been dealt with fucking immediately. The fact that was left to run is disgusting. Period. Then you end up with the whole Vatican II thing where people believe that the current pope isn't the real pope, and they're I don't know. I went to Lutheran school growing up, so and for years I gave a lot more benefit of doubt to Catholicism because of how hard the Protestants went at them in my schooling, until I did a lot of my own research and was like, oh. I mean, they shouldn't have done it the way they did it, the way they tried to teach me it. It was bad. But they had a lot of points. Oh, I'm aware that I wasn't. I wasn't thinking it was only because you're Italian. The Polish, obviously, the city I lived in before was majority Polish and majority Catholic. So, I don't find that to be that strange. No, people for some reason don't realize the Holy Roman Empire, anything that touched has remnants of Catholicism there, and it's baked into the culture now. So
on the 17th of August, episode 1 of Warski Went Crazy premiered with a positive reception from viewers, few of them as there were. It was a return to form for the Warskis, as Chris and Andy shared the screen together for a written, edited, and produced project, not too dissimilar from their early skit comedy videos. This particular video, however, was more of a meta-analysis of the self for Andy, leaning into his deteriorating mental condition and alleged cocaine usage. He would follow up with a second episode before unceremoniously.
When it says alleged cocaine usage, that's not alleged. That's just an open secret.
Abandoning the project. A video titled How to Manscape, Warski Episode 1 would follow, but this new series would not receive a follow-up episode either. The upload between episodes 1 and 2 of Warski Went Crazy would be a stark shift in subject matter for Andy Warski. Video game media. An intriguing detail in the video's description is a writing credit to one Ian Miles Chong, a journalist who had appeared on Andy Warski's channel.
Ian Miles Chong. Ian. Alt-rights at the Post-Millennial with Blair White, and the Post-Millennial is essentially an alt-right paper. I don't care what anyone says.
On at least two occasions, May 18th and July 5th, 2017. Andy's first foray into games media would premiere on the 22nd of August, 2018. On the 22nd...
Yeah, he's trying to recreate Gamergate by himself. I don't know why he thought that would work.
7th of September, just over a month later, Andy would lend his voice to a channel called Hype Break, covering a Fortnite controversy.
Fortnite Season 6 is here, and there's a lot of stuff they've added. Tons of cosmetics, shadow stones, backpack pets, and boob physics.
Hype Break was a joint business venture between Ian Miles Chong and...
That's alright with, how do I put this? I'm not going to be angry at somebody simply for being closer to the right. I'm going to be angry at people that hurt other people. It would be dishonest to say I don't talk and am not social with people that are more on the right. That would just be dishonest. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the anti-authoritarian right can cause a lot of issues and can lead, and from what I've noticed, can lead to authoritarianism if they believe anything. They will use authoritarian means to try and achieve libertarian right ideas. It's very, very fucked. But that's the thing. Being anti-imperialist, I think, is just a great core. Anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist, that kind of ideas are like, that's seeing what empires and colonies and all of that shit, how that's played out, and actually being honest about it, that it was horrible. Because I'll hear from people on all sides that when they fuck it up, you know? But I'm not gonna fucking just, yeah, exactly. That anybody who's hurting others I don't even know if, sometimes I don't even think punishment's the solution as much as rewriting law or figuring out how to prevent it. I think we are far too punishment oriented as a society. Because punishment doesn't stop people. They just see it as the price for what they did. You know? I'm just saying, at least for me, I was punished for shit constantly growing up that I did anyway, and just viewed it as the price of admission. You know? It's very bizarre. Finding out preventative measures is something I think we've kind of stopped doing, and I think we need to work on that.
and Andy Warski, and for a time, things seemed incredibly promising for the budding channel, although not a regular occurrence. Enough videos garnered hundreds of thousands of views, making the pursuit well worth the effort. Thus, the two continued their fruitful business partnership. For the weeks that followed his return to regularly written and edited videos over long-form live streams, Andy would cover gaming news and make more traditional anti-feminist content. Save for one video, his channel would not manage to break more than 10,000.
The thing is, I don't, when I say, I hate, I don't know how to put this, I don't hate the Russian people or Russians. I hate their government, and I hate the whole faux way, and I hate that they just basically elected a brand new fucking KGB after they were out from under Stalin. Like, it's insane. Like, I have many, many critiques of Russia that go very far back, and I never took them at their word to begin with. I knew that I like the Ukraine thing. I don't know. Personally, I saw it coming. I can see where you wouldn't if you believed them, but I trust them as much as I trust any other international government, which is I don't. It's very simple. Like, I can't imagine being a Russian against the war right now, except I can. Because for years, I've just wanted to scream from the rooftops whenever the U.S. was engaging in the same kind of imperialism and just go, we don't fucking support this shit, please. Help. Somebody. But no one will listen because you're a Russian or you're an American or any of that kind of shit. Like, yeah, it's that, yeah, basically, it feels, I don't know if I would call, I'd separate from stuff like chattel slavery, because I don't think it's like that, but it's definitely a type of slavery. I mean, if wage slavery is a thing, then yeah. I can just never, like, understand, like, going, like, being, like, completely against a country, though, like, as a person. Oh, no, they are able to think for themselves. It's that they've been conditioned to not to view the risks of thinking for themselves as higher than the risks for not. You convince them that if they act in their own interests, it will hurt them. It's the power of the propaganda in the state. Like, they can think for themselves, they've just been conditioned not to. You know? Just like interestingly, I would say U.S. citizens are conditioned to say a lot of shit and talk constantly about things and then never actually do anything about it. They use it as like a form of legal release valve. It's kind of weird. Oh yeah, no. I have no idea how Ukraine is going to play out whatsoever. I am very concerned. So.
Views on any given upload during this period of time. So he returned to what he knew best. On September 30th, only days after starting on a hype break, Andy would produce yet another response video to his old nemesis Francesca Ramsey, digging up a months-old video as a source.
Oh, absolutely, it's going to turn into a shit show. There will be so many attacks. that's the thing. It's like, like I said, I'm from the U.S. If anyone knows that there's gonna be a lot of attacks and shit after you fucking occupy a fucking country, it's somebody who's looked at any kind of U.S. politics, especially in the Middle East. So.
Only days after that, on the 4th of October, Andy would return yet again to his long-form livestream format, covering whatever the current controversy was coursing through the internet on that day. 3 days later, the 7th of October, he would begin what he would later call his warpath, scorching the earth between him and anyone who may have once been a friend and is no longer, treading old ground and revisiting old enemies for content. The spirit of Bloodsports would live on at the insistence of Andy Warski. His first target was former friend Blair White, who he called...
Which, I have no issue with somebody attacking Blair White as long as it wasn't nuts. No, I haven't. I've not seen that video. If you want to... Oh! Do-do.
Перевернулся, блядь, сука, в раз 30, блядь, я не знаю, от этой хуйни. Это война, мужики, блядь, чтобы вы понимали, блядь.
Okay.
Это война не за Украину, блядь, это война не за газ, не за нефть, не за НАТО, не, блядь, даже не за Крым, не за всю эту хуйню.
Alright.
Это война...
White nationalism, of course. I was wondering if white nationalism would rear its ugly head, and it did.
За будущее белой нации, за будущее белой цивилизации, за будущее белой России. Если вы проебете...
Our civilization on our list. Fuck that white. White civilization on the planet. Jesus. I know, in a way, they are the ultimate. They are the ultimate coalition that way. It's very strange, but that's the thing. When you are on the extreme end of things, seeing other extreme people as allies is really easy. As someone who is honestly on the extreme end of things, it's easier to look at somebody else who's extreme as an ally than somebody who is not. So I can see this being really, really easy to convince yourself. Not these guys. I think these guys might just be like this.
Все. Не будет больше. Не будет больше, блядь, нашей цивилизации. Белая... Блядь, это просто конец, блядь, белой цивилизации на планете. Потому что мир — это все, что стало.
Yeah, what? You Russians are the only white people left? What's the... But then again, that's part of it, where it's like, when you're extreme, it would appear to you as the more extreme you get, the less allies you have. So to him, he probably does think that the Islamists, or the nationalists, and the communists are that. Well, my guess is he's actually taken the definition of white and also included the stipulation, white people agree with me, so anybody who gets considered white has to agree with him. That'd be my guess.
Что другие, которые раньше, да, там мы думали, вот, мы белая нация, там.
White America is a song by Eminem.
Они там вот белая Европа, белая Америка, что там сейчас, блядь? Арабы, сука, блядь, негры ебучие, блядь, китаёзы, сука, прут со всех щелей, блядь.
Yeah, just pure fucking vitriol.
Еще, блядь, еще и педики, сука, все подряд, блядь. Сука, мужики, блядь, в платьях, все сосут неграм члены.
I'm not gonna ask this because he's Russian. I'm asking like an actual question. Is he drunk? He sounds fucking drunk to me. Which I wouldn't blame him for in a war zone, but this sounds like fucking when you find out your uncle is racist drunk talk. Which I have experience with. Well, yeah, I know they always drink, but I'm saying drunk. There's a difference between that, at least to me. We have a hell of a drinking culture in Wisconsin, where we are banned in the nation from participating in drinking competitions just because we partake so often. It's kind of weird, man. But yeah, this is fucking insanity. Really? I can. Literally, the show MASH is about drunk army surgeons. Just saying. But if I was an American soldier, I'd be fucking hammered. They actually had a problem where people would save up the cold medicine so they could trip later during services. Like alcohol and drug use are like rife throughout the U.S. military. Like started in Vietnam and has just gotten worse. Like in Vietnam, people were on heroin and fucking doing their duties. Yeah, don't believe them. There are just as many good people as there are scumbags in the military. Just straight up. Exactly. Their experience might have been good. That doesn't mean it's everyone's experience. Honestly, the amount of stuff in the U.S. that has started because of drunken soldiers would shock you, like history-wise. Yeah, it's impossible. I'm just saying it's not uncommon at all. You know? There's no pure white. If you have pure white blood, you should go to the doctor. Just say. Because you might have pus in your veins, and I would not argue that this man might have pus in his veins. Sperm blood. We're the only white ones. Whatever you say, man.
Поэтому это сейчас и происходит. Мы, блядь, последний бастион.
Like, I don't know anyone who actually, yeah, absolutely. But I don't know anyone who, like, just looks at Russia as white. Other than, like, the literal white Russian drink. That's it. What are you talking about, man?
Белого человека. Война за кровь, война за генетику, война за то, чтобы наша великая.
What the fuck do you know about genetics, motherfucker? Honestly, what do you know? Because if you knew genetics, you'd know there's more actually genetic diversity in Africa among the black population there than there is in all of, like, the U.S. in all of most white considered countries, white dominant countries. So what the fuck are you talking about? In case you're wondering, that's relevant because the more genetic diversity you have, the more healthy your people usually are. Because the way human beings, like, get better and resistances and stuff like that is through a recombination of their genetics. Yeah, exactly. Slavs have some genetics that are similar to Persians. Yeah, exactly. And we're all similar to fucking chimps. What race is a chimpanzee, my friend?
Великая белая Россия продолжала жить, чтобы было будущее у белого человека, блядь. Вот за что мы боимся.
Yeah, absolutely. No. There's a reason people say return to monkey. I do think we should stop saying that because we are far past that stage. But, you know.
И только так, только так, блядь, только...
And there he is right there attempting to spew the whole one man can change history. History and the world doesn't change because, I don't know, things change. It's because there's always one great man at the wheel. One great man. Fucking idiot. Oh yeah, that's a, yeah. And we're like China, we're not going to say China doesn't have problems either. Fucking Uyghur genocide lunatics.
Белый, только белый русский человек, могущественный воин может, блядь, построить великую Российскую империю и сохранить будущее на этой, чтобы на этой планете, блядь, белая нация продолжала существовать. Вот наша...
Yeah, like, I would love to know if this was drilled in him by a drill sergeant at any point, or if he was already like this. Like, that's what I'm curious about.
Поэтому мы здесь. Не Киев, блядь, хуйня это все, блядь. Россия для русских. Белая Россия.
Yeah. Also, I'm trying to figure out, considering how he uses the term white Russian, is he, like, advocating... Is he advocating for, like, some really weird shit there? Like, is he, like, trying to go, like, back to... Is he, like, a monarchist? You know? Oh, yeah, I have a cousin who's an anthropologist who was telling me about this. I remember her trying to explain how this worked. Her right there. Humphrey. Cannibalistic infanticide by hiring, making, yep. Yeah. Jane Goodall does great work, by the way. Just in general.
Called in his videos titled.
Yeah, that's the, which monarchism and Stalinism should be incompatible based off of, like, Stalin's whole deal, and that he literally destroyed the monarchy. Like, here's what I'd be interested in. What pieces of each belief system are they tying together? You know? Like, if you could map it out. Oh, I live in the U.S. Do you have any idea how many political words just died entirely? Do you have any, like, okay, I don't know if you know this, but if you hear the word woke, you should stop listening to the person. Because that term has lost all meaning. It was literally just street slang and then became a political issue. And now all we know is the woke left or wokeism, or there's too much wokeism in this. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Wokeism isn't even defined. It's a slang word, you weirdo.
The fakest of the fakes. The stream, although negatively received, garnered nearly 65,000 views. Not the kind of viewership that Andy...
Also, to be honest here, Blair White is the fakest of the fakes. Just in general. Watch out D'Angelo Wallace's shit on there. Of course, that's because fascism is so hard to define, I think. Like, fascism is so hard to like, get a handle on definition-wise. Like, authoritarianism is part of fascism. It's kind of like people, like, there are people in the States that say that we were originally supposed to be a republic, so you should be a Republican. Or we are meant to be a democracy, so you should be a Democrat. Like that kind of idiotic simplicity, where it's like, no, it is it was meant to be partially a republic using democratic means and measurements in a representative style government. Like, neither one of those statements is either false or true. It's like, democracy is an aspect of a republic. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, corporatist, but not capitalistic corporatism. Yep. But that's what I mean. Like, there's so many things underneath that. I don't know if I would say Catholicism would be part of it necessarily. I would say historically it's definitely been a part of it, but I don't think it is a necessary component, if that makes sense. Fascism is way more complex than it's any right to be, honestly. Like, my brain just... I don't think fascism... I think... How do I put this? The spirit of fascism is alive and well. The actual technical definitions aren't. I think a lot of things point to it. And I think a lot of things signpost it. And a lot of it is we have culturally ruined the word because it's so hard to define. No, I would agree, definitely. Every group of people that people usually do, yeah. Oh, I'm aware. I've watched Borderless and critiqued it, and Lonerbox has a great video debunking Lauren Southern's whole immigration thing. It's very good. But yeah, no, I'm aware. I mean, in a way, Italy would be like one of the starting points, considering that the term the fasci comes from the weapon used by the Romans. Yeah, your city was founded by fascists, so they're strong here. Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm saying, I understand. Yeah, they sure do. I mean, it's not like, I know in certain places the Klan like can actually like are in like Macy's like May Day parades and shit. Not May Day, but you get what I'm saying. Like they have parade floats and shit like with everyone else. Like, it's pretty insane. They want to increase their sport hours. I don't know what that means. What's sport hours? It doesn't sound like something part of our I don't know what that means. TA? Oh, Jim. Okay. Yeah, no, no, there's school sports for that after school that you could do if you wanted, but they were associated with the school, not with anyone else. And nobody ever tried to get you to do it unless you showed any kind of talent, because the better your record is in the US, the more like donor money you end up with. But, well, that's usually how it is. I don't know if you've seen the Channel 5 Satanist video where they talk about making an after-school Satan club because there was a local church that had created an after-school program where it basically taught you how to preach to other students and indoctrinate more children. So they made that, even though Satan Club literally did not actually teach anything about Satan, it was just literally, according to them, like crafts and shit. But the Christian organization was there specifically for indoctrination purposes. Why? That's the idea. The idea is okay. Like when a Satanist church or a Satanist organization like wants to put up a satanic like statue, it's not the idea of putting up the statue as much as pointing out the discrepancy. The idea here is to point out that what the Christian organization, what they're peddling is wrong. The point isn't to actually make the club. They made the club because it didn't get pulled out, but so they just end up with both. But creating drama was the idea. It wasn't supposed to be quiet. It's supposed to be loud. You know, that's like Satanism, the name alone. The idea is to be as loud and in your face as humanly possible. See, I'm quite the opposite that way, because actually getting attention to the problem's the idea. You know? Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to fix this if I don't know about it, or if they don't know about it. And they're not going to listen to me if I just put up a regular after-school club countering that. They're not going to listen. Nobody will listen. Nobody will care. That's the idea of Satan in general, and Satanism is that he is the ultimate anti-authoritarian. They say you can't make an after-school Satan club. Well, I'll fucking make an after-school Satan club. You know, it's that, like, it may seem basic, but it's functional. Especially in the U.S., where you end up with a lot of evangelicals. Yeah, we know. People aren't. This is also bringing to attention to people that would understand what they're doing, too. They're going to end up with crazies protesting at their doorstep for their mere existence. It doesn't matter to them how far they take it then. You know? It doesn't matter. Like, Satan is controversial by nature. And slapping the label on it makes something that was hidden now controversial and discussed. Whether people automatically assume it's a negative or not. The idea is you go, that's weird. Why do you have a Satan club? They tell you when you go, that's weird. Why does that church organization have that? Well, no, he's not. He's the opposer. He's the adversary. That doesn't make him evil necessarily. Like, he doesn't represent... Also, he's pre the world. He's an angel. He can't represent the evil of the world because the evil didn't happen yet. You know? No, that's reversed. He became a fallen angel because he opposed God. He wasn't a fallen angel, then he opposed God. No, he fell because he opposed God. I don't consider God to be good in any sense. Like that's a presupposition that God is good. I mean, the order of events matters here. You know? No, he wouldn't. He would decide what he thinks we should do. Oh, no, I'm not saying we can defeat it. I didn't say we could defeat him. I'm saying that doesn't mean that he would decide what is good and what's not. It means he could tell us, and then according to free will, we could, do it anyway. Wouldn't matter. He doesn't, like, morality and personal morality, religious morality, like interpersonal morality, all of that is very, very complex and not something he would be able to dictate for everyone if his whole free will thing was still a thing. If there's no free will, then he is lying. So he would have violated his own rules. People confuse good and powerful to me. I think he's super powerful. I don't think that makes him good. Like, a dictator doesn't decide what's good, can't really decide what's morally good or bad in his country, but he can change everything else. Because he will do morally reprehensible things. Like, I consider, God the ultimate authoritarian that way. Because he expects everybody to do what he says, regardless of evidence. What does that mean, created in his image? Like, what does that exactly mean? Like, created to look like him wouldn't mean that, no. Created with his power? Maybe, but I don't see that. There's no evidence of that. So, exactly, it's very... And I don't know which church even, so I don't know. This is just, it's too unclear to make sense. It's that simple. Ugh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. See, that's, I always hate that shit. Like, don't interpret it yourself. Which is very funny, because then you have the opposite problem with the evangelicals, who then interpret and extrapolate too much in the U.S. So, what cults? It's not easier to avoid cults, you just make a central cult. That's how I see it. It's just a centralized cult then. Then you just have one big cult. I mean, I usually use the bite model to measure on what's a cult, but yeah, this is the closest thing we got that measures it correctly. There's a lot of cults, though. Most are It's weird. See, maybe around you, that's not how Catholicism functions all over the world. Most, like, Catholics in my area are very aggressive and yelly. You know? Like, all those Catholics in that Channel 5 video, that's not that strange, and their opinions are not that strange. That's not that uncommon. Yeah, no. I've seen priests scam people. So no, it's not the same everywhere. You have to remember, when it's a religion, it can be like all of this. Your local preconceptions are a problem in understanding the full scope. Because I'm not denying that happened to you at all. Like, I am sure it's very different. No, they do. They follow what they want and then leave out what they want. Every priest does that. I really don't. It's hard for me because I don't hold them to the standard of the Vatican at all, because I just hold them to the standard of their own behavior and whether they're acting like a legal and any kind of person that we should trust. I don't like judging them based off of their religion. It bothers me. Like, because you're talking about how Protestantism went there. Most, like, regular Protestant sects that aren't down south are actually closer to what you describe here. They're very plain, and they just mostly are a fixture of the community. They're very rarely radical. They may have some bad edges on certain parts, but it's like milquetoast Christianity here is very different. Like, so, like, nobody here, I think also another thing you have to understand, nobody in the U.S., like, intrinsically gives a fuck what the Pope says. Like, I think culturally you have it where you care. That doesn't mean anyone here does. You know? That simple. Yeah, no, nobody here cares, though. It's like, that's the thing. When it's something, like, I'm not going to expect you to know anything about my local political scene or anything like that. You know, it's like, so expecting that everybody has the same opinion on the Pope and stuff is very different. You know? Like, there are a lot of priests that have done some great shit, and then there's a lot of them that are fucking horrendous. You know? I don't know that to be the fact for facts. So, and also, I'm not sure I care. Again, I don't really care who the Pope or any ultimate leader of most religions are. I care more about the people in their places and what are they doing, you know? Fun fact. Like, I don't, like I'm just saying, I don't know. I've never seen an Eastern Orthodox church. There aren't any in my area. We have a Hmong temple, a Buddhist temple, a couple of synagogues. Obviously, we have some Catholic Pentecostal, Lutheran, like, it's pretty diverse. Ukraine broke from them in 2019, Greece and... Okay, cool. Like I said, it's very hard to even, like, I'm just saying, like, I've never seen any, like, Orthodox shit. Like, it's just not around me. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody has different shit in their area, so I can't give you any kind of opinion.
He once had when he shared his channel with JF, but a substantial improvement from recent months. Jeff Holiday, another former friend and associate, would be next.
And for the guys of you out there who do that and put in all that good work, kudos to you. It's
No. No, I have not. I didn't. Like I said, like, we don't talk nor hear that much about the Pope here. It's not really a subject matter because it's not something that has any bearing on anything here. Also, I'm going to be honest, just how sensational that sounds. My first thought would be, just a work, you know? That'd be my first thought. But all right. Then you have, like, General Butt Fucking Naked of Liberia, who was a fucking person who then eventually converted as well, I know. And that's not a joke, that's his name. Butt Naked. That's what he called himself, because he fought naked in Liberia. Very interesting story. I'm listening to the Behind the Bastards episode on it, where they go over, like, the bastards of history. Yeah, Butt Naked, that was his name. That's real. Uh-huh. No, that wasn't his original name. He changed his name to Butt Naked because he fought naked. Also, you're not incorrect. This was during the Liberian Civil Wars, which, if you know anything about, were insane. Like, they were just meat grinders. They were like, it was like, instead of a war, let's turn the ground into a meat grinder and just jump in it. That's how, yeah, it's fucking awful. But if you're interested, I know you're more on the right, so maybe Time Suck did a thing on him that's really good. Time Suck's more of a libertarian. So, like, in case you didn't want the leftist undertones, which I do, so I don't mind. But I have already listened to that one. It was all right. It's funny because his name's General Butt Naked.
It's badass.
No, it's badass if you live in 2002 and you're a retard.
Yeah.
How do you get through all of?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not economically centered. I'll be like more definitely not. I've seen how the ravages of capitalism in my area, my life, and done enough study on it. It's nuts. Strong welfare is great. Actually, my concern is always, how do you pool those resources and how are they applied? Yeah, now that's great. Like that for welfare, that's fucking amazing. We don't have that at all. Really. Like we get we don't have very much protections for anyone else. So yeah, having a mixed government right now is way better than where we're going. I just think we can go further and maybe eliminate even more symptoms of poverty and destroy some of and repair some of the damage done by corporate capitalism. Yeah, you can. All right. I don't fucking care, man. Oh, automation, depending on how it's implemented, could free the worker entirely. It would be amazing, but it's not where we're at. I don't like Christian democracy because again, you can call me whatever the fuck you want, man. I'm not liberal. I'm much farther left than that, but and but that's because I don't like the idea of Christianity as a political bloc. That is disturbing to me. Anything informed by religion as a political bloc to operate with other people that may not follow the same religion it just sounds doomed to failure in the end. All right. The sad part is you don't have an argument. No, which I don't have a problem with. I just see a problem in the future if anything gets radicalized. I can foresee an issue, especially if they don't have limitations on what they can do because of their religion and what things they can change. Like that would be my concern. Again, you're coming from a very different framework where in Italy near the Vatican and shit. Here, most of what the religious blocs do are incredibly detrimental and take away humans' rights. So, no. So, that's why I would be concerned in the future. I think you can at least understand my apprehension given what religious blocs have done to my country. You know? They've hurt a lot of people. Yeah. And again, I'm not angry at I understand. I understand that. I just want you to understand it has nothing to do with who they are as much as my experiences and stuff like that. Yeah. And just know if I've had a different experience, I will tell you. Like, when I was in religious school, I got the living shit kicked out of me, and the teachers did not help. And by not help, I mean they would embarrass me in front of the rest of the class. So, that's my experiences with certain religious people. Not the same. In case you're wondering why didn't I report it, they would have been the person you report to.
The fucking inspirational quotes and kitty pictures and shit on Facebook to actually find this. That's what I want to know.
The second voice you hear in that clip belongs.
Oh no, we didn't learn a jack shit about any other religions in general. So, like, here's what you need to understand. Like, in public schools here, you learn nothing about religion. And so the only person that's going to tell you about religion would be the leader of the religious sect you belong to, if any. So all the information you're going to get is going to be slanted. It's like, it's really fucked up. Far left. Far anti-authoritarian left. Oh, yeah. See, yeah, no, it wasn't neutral in school. I'd say I'm anarcho-socialist would be the closest descriptor I've found so far. I'm just very anti-authoritarian, and imperialism is, well, I don't have any issues with anyone who is like not a classical, but a Marxist who follows it to the utopian ideal, but yeah, that's not the experience here. It's pretty. Yeah, that would have been nice, though. I remember in public school when a couple of kids came out and how big of a problem that was for a lot of people. Like one of my friends who was gay ended up not being allowed in the yearbook. Weird. I understand that she shouldn't lie about it. I don't think she should give what her position is based on possibly telling other people. No, the workers own the means of production. That's the idea of socialism. That's like rule one. Rule one is the means of production are owned by the workers. That's the idea. In fact, with the anarcho part of what I'm looking for, it would eventually destroy the state entirely. I mean, like, that's the thing. I would have to be there and see how they said it. Just saying. See, that's good. That's great. But the state, that's not how. That is not the goal of socialism or communism, to have the state government control. That'd be on the authoritarian scale of it, not the other way around. That's where the anarcho comes in. I don't know, like like I said, I just don't know the conversation. So, like, I'd have to actually see it. A political and economic theory of social organization that advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be regulated by the community as a whole. By the people. You make up the community. The community is not a government. Honestly, I don't. Socialism. Like, even in Marx's theory, it's a transitional state between the overthrow of capitalism and where communism ends in the utopian society in the end. So, I don't know. Also, I don't know the exact months. I am very pro-abortion because I think making somebody go through childbirth that doesn't want to is disgusting. Period. Like, forcing someone to do that is just gross to me. Yeah, public ownership would be the public owns it, not the state in that. So, look, I literally just looked it up for you. Yeah, I don't think that the state should dictate anything about abortion. I think we should have morning after pills for sale. I think that we should be developing new ways where we don't even have to where we can do chemical abortion over the fucking counter. Because that would be great. No. Aborting at 9 months I don't think would be weird because there'd have to be a reason. Nobody wants to get an abortion. You get an abortion if you have to. You know? Like, there's no record of anyone, you know, no, I mean want as in you just want to be knocked up and then have an abortion is a weird fetish. Yeah, I guess there's some psychos, but it's not a thing. That's not an 8 to 9 month child. That's a fetus. Still a fetus. And I don't know about fully developed. I don't know any of the science on that has led to that being the case. But rad femmes are weird. I don't get them. I just don't consider it a child.
Belongs to a gentleman who calls himself Geek Thulu. At this point in the story, he would become a permanent fixture on Andy's channel, positioning himself as the 4th co-host replacement following Chris, JF Garyapi, and Jay Dyer. Crowden T, the ex-confidant of Warski's who he called upon to attack Rage After Storm and Failure in Tonkasaw, the 2 ex-co-hosts and friends from the Morning Kumite, would be next, with Andy dedicating over 20 hours of airtime to the 3 of them in between October 20th and October 25th, 2018.
I'm saying that original Marxism's idea is that the after everything is redistributed, that would be a self-sustaining communist utopia. That's the idea. That is Marx's theory. To work towards a utopian society. I mean, you can disagree that's what would happen, but that's what the theory actually states and is about. That's just not the part people talk about. I don't know why, but it's in there. Because the communism, that what happens during that is mostly there to set up for the everlasting utopia. That's what Marx and Engels were working on. No. Again, only if I agree or disagree. I'm not roasting them. I talk to Talarx all the time. He's a communist. It doesn't really like Marxists don't bother me. I'm saying what the thing is and where I think things can and cannot go in my own personal opinion. Like, I have no animosity for most ideas that involve communism. Just saying, I don't. Like, me saying I disagree is not me roasting. If I was roasting, you'd know.
Over the course of the next few months, this conflict would boil over into the real world, with Andy Warski challenging Tonkasaw, an alleged UFC fighter, to a real fight.
Yeah.
Hi, Tonka. Challenges me to a fight. Challenges everyone to a fight, right? No one wants to fight you, so you're the winner. You're the 106-0. Because no one wants to fight you, right? But you expected that because you're tough online. And
I think you're also, there's a difference between authoritarian, like, communism, and, like, that ends up into Leninism and Stalinism and their whole deal. It's a very different set of principles. A lot of it is complete perversions of what the original idea Marx was getting at was. It's pretty demented. And in case anyone wants to blame Marx for what he did, realize that before anybody started perverting his ideas, he'd been dead for quite some time. So it's not like he was part of their crew or anything like that.
a lot of people have shit to do. They're busy. Now, why did I accept? Why did I accept the fight? Because you've crossed the line.
The bout was set to take place in the new year, mid-January of 2019, giving the feuding YouTubers time to work through the logistics. In a stroke of fortune for Andy, Tara La Rosa, a professional mixed martial artist, facilitated the event, streamlining the process of booking a venue and taking the proper channels for a public fight, but Tonkasaw made it his mission not to show up for the fight, forfeiting.
I don't know. I don't think any. Be honest. I can only, like, to me, it matters less what country is the closest to socialism as to what the quality of life standards are of the area, and then how we can move it and make it better. So maybe if, I only think about it in terms of progress, I guess. Less in terms of, like, anything like that. Like, I've never lived under a system that socialism was a part of, so I would need to see the area, know more about it. Like, I can't really do more with that information, I guess. Like, you can say it's a bitch answer, but it's just how I think. Like, I don't think anybody is necessarily there. So, which one if you want to know which one I think would be the easiest, it'd probably be one of the Nordic countries would be the easiest to work on to get to socialism, and not because they're the closest as much as I think the demographics and the location and stuff like that lend itself to it better. So that's That's more what I think about.
To Andy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you may or may not have heard that we were supposed to have a YouTube grudge match tonight. His opponent did not show up. I'm going to hand the mic over to him and let him discuss his feelings.
This guy, Tonkasaw, has challenged about 50 people online to fight. It's saying he was a UFC champ, MMA, and I was the first person to be like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. And he's tried everything in his power to make this match not happen. Low T Tonka!
Internet blood sports had made it into the real world, giving Andy.
Oh, there's those incel vibes. I was waiting for that. Low T Tonka.
This taste of victory he hadn't known since his monumental stream with Richard Spencer. Tonkasaw was well and truly done. His last.
I'm not sure if I'd call somebody not showing up to fight a victory. Like, that should tell you how sad this motherfucker really is.
Last morning stream, hosted on Tonka Radio, boasts a measly 605 views with an unforgiving like-to-dislike ratio. Still, Andy's victory would be soured quickly as nefarious things brewed between himself and his business partner, Ian Miles Chong.
But I mean, I never would trust Ian Miles Chong to do anything. I mean, he's a snake. He's been a snake.
Well,
his whole
he
life.
apparently is trying to take the channel right next to my manager. Fucking texting me. What did he text me?
Oh, he's trying to take it. I'm sure he's watching right now. Yeah.
Hey Andy, give me a call. It's concerning Hypebreak.
Oh God.
So Ian probably trying to detach our fucking network or MCM from it without having the official okay. Which guess what, Ian, you fucking retard? That's illegal, and guess who gets fucked?
There was a dispute between the two YouTubers over ownership of the channel and money allegedly owed to Andy Warski. Andy produced 6 videos pertaining to the ongoing matter between himself and his former business partner from January 26th to February 8th, 2019. In a video posted on Twitter, Andy describes his dire financial state, claiming that the money he should have been paid for his work on Hypebreak would have been his only source of income, as he hadn't made any money from his primary channel, and he had sunk a great deal of his own personal finances into the fight with Tonkasaw.
Hey everyone, I'm sure you've seen my tweets.
And that's why it's not a win. Warski. Andy Warski, let's be specific, because Chris might be around, I don't know, somewhere. But he sunk in money into a fight he was challenged to where the person didn't show up. That's not gonna pay back itself for any reason. If you thought, even for a second, he wouldn't show up, you should have split the money with. You should have split costs. Okay?
So I was finishing up the editing for episode 2 of the Ian Miles Chung thing. Because I finally got my internet working again after the DDoS attack. And, the money.
By the way, he mentions the DDoS attack in passing because that happened to people in the internet blood sports community so often because they had such a fucking toxic audience. The audience just hated them as much as they hated the people they were making fun of. It was a truly bizarre time on the internet.
Money that was from December, because the MCM pays every 2 months, was all from Hypebreak, because obviously I didn't do any Warpass in December. I think I just did 1 or something. The MCM said I would get the money from December and January from Hypebreak.
Ooh, the MCM is a bad thing, huh?
But I guess my MCM is fucking retarded, and
yes, they are.
When Ian hacked the account and stole it from me, he changed the AdSense account, and I guess they sent it to the Hypebreak at Gmail, thehypebreak@gmail.com, which is connected to obviously Ian Miles Chung's AdSense, meaning the $4,000 to $5,000 that the channel would make that I needed because I got no more money from not working for 4 months to for 3 months, plus from the fucking fight, the Valor fight, that didn't pay me, even though I made them thousands of dollars, and promotion, paying people and everything. That check was supposed to be the check that put me right, you know, to keep me afloat until the next thing. So, yeah, that's what happened.
Although he wasn't a co-host, Ian Miles Chong would join the growing number of business partners, friends, and associates who Andy Warski would violently eject from his life. Soon after, Andy Warski would make a public statement disavowing Geek Thulu on Twitter. Geek had operated as Andy Warski's streaming co-host for...
Yeah, this one was the weirdest because Geek is, one, a sad sack of a motherfucker, but he just... Like, Geek is just such a wuss that I don't know what there is to critique him on other than being fucking a loser. And honestly, Andy needs friends even if they're losers. So...
for a few months, but this particular individual is so unimportant to the story that I won't waste too much of my time on him. For those of you who are somewhat curious, here is a video of the kind of content that Geek Thulu and Andy Warski produced during their time together.
This is what a nigger looks like. Like, you know, there are black people.
JF Gariepi, before deciding to leave Canada altogether for the greener pastures of Richmond, Virginia.
By the way, they're all racist in general.
Yeah, where he would connect with a fellow Bloodsports live stream.
I love that he's doing commentary so poorly because it just reminds me of like proto commentary. It's just bizarre to me to see.
Ethan Ralph of the Kill Stream.
I'm about half dead from driving all day, but I have one more mission left to do. I'm headed to Nashville to collect Andy Warski, and as he mentioned, we're going to stream our first meeting and our trip back to Nashville.
Oh, this is bad.
From Nash to Knox, the journey to beat a cripple, something like that. Whatever. Check it out. About 3 hours. I'm on my way right now.
That man is an extreme piece of shit who recently finally got put down by the community by Medicare. Like him, literally Medicare and Andy are the only two left standing that have not just completely been destroyed. Like all credibility, everything. It's bizarre.
He would commit to becoming an IRL streamer as his next business venture, enabling text-to-speech functionality and connecting it to speakers so that viewers can donate and broadcast anything to Andy's immediate vicinity. Here is Andy inside of a McDonald's being confronted by an employee for his audience's racist remarks.
It's $5 on the stream.
In case you were wondering, Mr. Anti-Bully, the poster here, yeah, nickname is Race Warski. I can see that. Yeah, it's literally his nickname. But that's Mr. Medicare, one of his alts. No, an alt. That's why it's called Mr. Anti-Bully, because it's because he is very pro-bullying.
Are you not scared about slavery? No, I'm not. Are you serious, guys? Why would you do that?
Andy would leave this 1-star review of...
At least Ice Poseidon was somewhat aware of what the fuck was going on.
The restaurant, claiming that he had been dangerously targeted for his skin color. That was March 6th, 2019. Ethan Ralph...
No, your loud chat was saying racist stuff about slavery. Everyone heard it. You just happen to be in a black part of town. Even in a not black part of town, people are going to look at you and it's going to be uncomfortable as fuck.
And Andy Warski were planning on live streaming a road trip between Richmond, Virginia and Miami, Florida, but they needed funding in order to provide their fans an entertaining show. They created an Indiegogo page with a goal of $4,000 of funding in order to finance this road trip. They met their goal with the intention to meet and greet with fans along the way. But as usual, there was only misfortune on the horizon for Andy Warski. On the night of the 14th of March 2019, Ethan and Andy would engage in some kind of an altercation, although no footage of the alleged fight exists. In this clip, an agitated Andy Warski can be heard threatening Ethan Ralph and breathing heavily as he flees the hotel that they were sharing.
Yeah, this was pretty insane, I remember.
Andy, brief.
No.
Brief.
I'm not talking about me.
Brief, man.
Why am I saying I'm wearing it? I'm gonna kill him.
No.
He fucking threatened me.
Get in there.
Guys, come on.
They streamed this too, by the way. This is not just home footage, it's streamed. They don't even have it for personal use, it's straight out to the world.
Leave me alone!
Outside of the hotel, Andy shouts and berates Ralph, swearing intensely about his former friend's intoxication.
Buster, no, you're drunk. Get the fuck out of here. Holy fuck! Get him away from me. What the fuck's wrong with him? Fucking crackhead. He's a fucking insane person. Like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna punch him in the fucking face. Fucking cocksucker. Okay, I'm leaving. No, I'm not staying. I'm not staying. I'm out. Fucking find a fucking train. Get the fuck out of here. Is he fucking stupid? He went back upstairs and drank the fucking bottle and back it down there. Come talk to me. Come talk to me. Fuck out of my life, you fucking faggot. Holy fuck.
Expanding circle of friends turned enemies in only a matter of days. March turned to April, and Andy can be seen exploring Miami, Florida with Alex, a fan of Andy's who tags along for the ride, and Failure, former friend turned enemy turned friend. Although his viewership is low, Warski genuinely seems to be enjoying his adventures through America, but his vacation would turn into a nightmare on the night of April 14th, 2018. The three streamers engage in a hostile interaction with three men walking the streets. What would transpire between them would lead to Andy's mimetic legacy, the words that he will be remembered by more than any others. Aim, aim, aim.
Stay back, stay back, stay back. Stay back, stay back, stay back, stay the fuck back, stay back, stay the fuck back.
Walk away now.
Stay back, stay back.
Jesus Christ, Andy. What the fuck was wrong with you and is wrong with you?
Get the fuck back!
You met with Asian Andy, who literally became famous because he tried to get on stream with Ice Poseidon. Why is it different now, I guess? I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Get the fuck back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Get the fuck back! He was assaulted! Get the fuck back!
We hate Nicholas.
Get the fuck back! Aim, 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 aim!
Calling the cops now!
Aim!
Alex would face 3 charges of aggravated assault and 1 charge of simple assault. The adventure was over. It was time to go home. The next day, April 15th, Andy would upload a video and a new series announcement titled Warski, My Own Worst Enemy, Part 0, in which a defeated Andy Warski, fully aware of his deteriorating mental health and his dwindling circle of friends, would make an emotional vow to reflect on his life by telling his own story. This too would lead nowhere. Warski would never follow up on this commitment. Like the American road trip with Ethan Ralph, like the Warpath, like Lorsky, like Warski went crazy, like his real life streams, he would never follow up on any of it. He would never give himself the chance. This story ends with a whimper. On the 26th of April 2018, Andy Warski laid his mental illness bare for his viewers to see. He announced that he would be seeing a therapist in order to address his ADHD and severe panic attacks.
Yeah, you don't live with... I'm gonna talk to a psychiatrist and let you all know what's up. What if that psychiatrist just says it's all in your head? But it's not. It's ADHD. And it's very difficult, and the mental pain and stress, which I'm gonna go over right now, needs to be fixed. Okay, I need to be feeling good. So essentially, there was I had 5, yeah, that's right, count it, 5 mental breakdowns before I left.
Jesus!
For America. 5.
The ratings on this live stream are overwhelmingly negative, but at this point in time, this
Didn't
is
matter.
par for the course. On the 10th of May, 2 weeks after the previous live stream, Andy posts on Twitter that he finally received his mental assessment and that he was looking forward to being on the road to recovery. As you all well know by now, the story of Andy Warski is a cycle of hope, being crushed by bitter defeat. On the 24th of May, 2019, only 2 weeks after his optimistic post about turning his life around, Andy uploads a video. The newest video on Andy's channel as of recording this audio.
Hey everyone, I'm not sure if you've heard, but I've been hacked on a few different accounts. And there's a lot of speculation, rumors, and confusion about this whole situation. While I have some suspicions about who may have done it, I'm not an investigator, cop, or judge, so I'm gonna keep that to myself.
Even though you fucking accused everyone else till they left your life, kind of learned your lesson a little, I guess.
I'm taking this very seriously, and I will not be responding anymore to anyone about this matter. And I will be also taking time off the internet to work on myself. Okay?
Then, nothing. I don't believe we've seen the end of Andy Warski.
We
He
haven't.
will be compelled to return to the internet in order to reestablish.
He's back. It's called Kino Casino. Apparently, it's awful. I saw Zan do a video on it, and something about it, but I didn't see the full thing. I knew Medicare was there. That's it.
Establish himself as a professional content creator because he has to. What else can he do? Warski's reputation will be inexorably tied to white nationalism and the alt-right for the foreseeable future. He will be remembered as a paranoid provocateur who destroyed every friendship he'd ever built in the pursuit of money and validation.
Except for Medicare, some fucking how. The Reaper of Death himself won't touch him, which makes you wonder what the fuck's going on here.
He will be defined by every heinous thing he's ever said and done, most of which has been immortalized on the internet. Who would be willing to employ a man in his state? How can a man like Andy Warski, who gave everything to be a YouTuber, ever let it go? We'll have to see as this story continues to unfold. For now, my name is Emmett Smith. I think I'm real, and I hope you enjoyed this installment of Internet Explorer.
Yeah, Andy Warski and Ethan Rolls boxing. Keemstar's covering it. Of course! I don't care, though.
Alright, let's try this one out now.
Andy Warski.
I will react as hard as I can in case Nick or somebody wants to go after me for not reacting hard enough. Or some shit. That being said, as much as I disagree with Nick on many things, from what I've seen, even though he works with Keem, if you haven't noticed, Keem's research has gotten better. This would be why. Because this guy's actually pretty good at his job.
Be rooting for Andy Warski.
Hey, Nicholas the Oreo, we in this shit, son?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for more YouTubers to fight each other.
You got your wish, motherfucker. I still need. I saw that iDubbbz uploaded the Creator Clash, and I still need to watch the whole thing. But I saw the dad fight, and that was enough to go, sold.
On August 25th, KSI fought Logan Paul. On July 15th, FouseyTube fought Common Sense. And now on
To be clear, that a fight against Common Sense that Fousey was part of, he lost. He lost bad.
January 19th, Andy Warski will be fighting Tonkasaw, and I am sure all 30 people in attendance will be utterly satisfied.
Hey, Jesus here. Andy Warski still has to fight Tonkasaw. He's out of shape and outmatched, but with your support, he can take down Tonka. To do that, he needs your credit card number. Those 3 digits on the back and the expiration date. It's shot from the point, bitch.
A few days ago, a tweet
That was actually a really good intro. I remember that.
surfaced from Andy Warski himself, and it said that Geek Thulu, the Ralph retort, and Andy will all be in the building at the same time for the fight. These people win the award for most likely to not be recognized at any other venue at any other time. I personally was hoping for a
That's 100% true.
Ralph versus the police officer he assaulted on the undercard, but I think I'm setting my standards a little too high.
Hey, now you know what. Hey, guess what? Guess what, Andy and but I love that Andy is gonna fight Ralph now that Ralph is Ralph is trying to get his relevancy back, and Andy for once has the upper hand that way. That's so strange.
And before we go and see why this is essentially going to be the Canadian Trail of Tears, I think I should tell you why I'm putting my support in the master of disaster himself, Andy Warski.
I've been putting dicks in my asshole.
Andy Warski.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want anyone to mistake my laughing at something they say as approval of them or their jokes, even their style. I just find how it's my reaction to how fucking awful all of it is. It's the cringe comedy effect for me.
Warski's a man of many traits, and peak physical form is certainly one of them. If you look at him, look at the way you could see the bones in his arms and his chest. He's really the definition of healthy.
This one's hilarious. Yo, give me a minute. I need to try to upload this thing.
He's essentially Eugene Cooney if Eugene Cooney had ties to white nationalism. And you can take that from me because I do know something about bodybuilding. Yes, I have mastered the art of being a oval, so you can really take my word to the bank when I'm analyzing Andy. But behind every major athlete, there is always one thing they all use to gain the edge on opponents. That's right, it's performance-enhancing drugs, and Andy Warski has one of his own. Let's hear it from Andy.
I said, fine, I'll do it. And then he starts adding all these conditions. First, it's you can't stream it, and then, okay, fine, you can, but there's got to be a drug test, which...
Whoa. Why does it need to be a drug test?
I know. Well, first of all, Coke only lasts in the system for 2 days. Not that I...
There you go.
I know 100%.
What, Andy?
Now seriously, I am so proud of Andy Warski's journey so far, and I think he is going to win this fight, and that's why I'm putting my money on the line. I have told Tommy C personally that I will donate every single cent I've ever made from Google AdSense revenue to him if Tonka somehow manages to defeat all odds and take down Andy Warski. So that's why I wanted to take my conversation to the community, maybe hear a few points, make a few points, and overall change a few minds of maybe some potential doubters of Andy's skills. So let's see how I did.
These niggas all lame as fuck.
This is Change My Mind.
Oh God, the Scrouter, the Scroutering.
By all intents and purposes, is an open discussion with few edits or cuts designed to transparently change someone else's mind. I initially took this conversation to my local college campus, but I quickly found out that nobody was aware who Andy Warski was. I then attempted to take this discussion to my local elementary school, where I assumed at the very least the girls would be quite aware of Andy Warski's Snapchat presence. Anyway, after I was told I couldn't record on that campus, I decided to once again relocate to where I was finally able to house this discussion. This is Andy Warski will defeat Tonka Saw. Change My Mind. Okay, so this is Change My Mind. It's a series I do where I go from school to school, location to location. The idea is to present a problem, see if we can find a solution, maybe change your mind in the process. Today's show is going to be on Andy Warski and his fight with Tonka Saw. And essentially what's going on is I think Andy Warski is going to win. You think that Tonka Saw is going to win. Definitely. So hopefully we can try to reach a common ground, maybe change the minds in the process. So first of all, are you open to having your mind changed?
Of course.
Okay, so would you like to start?
Yeah. All right, so from what I know from Tonka Saw, he's a wrestler. Okay.
He's not.
It's not easy being a wrestler. Do you know how much it takes, what effort it takes to become a wrestler? Physical, mental, spiritual, everything.
He's not, though, by the way. That turned out to be complete fraud on Tonka's part.
Okay, that's one advantage. Okay. Second, health. If you put both of them side by side, it's clear that Tonka Saw is in way better shape than Andy. Okay, that alone, I don't understand why he's not the favorite.
Well, honestly, you got to really look at it like this. Andy Warski did not sleep with an underage girl. He did not text an underage girl. That never happened at all whatsoever. So.
Yeah. Oh God, I forgot about that. I think I really should have put that in. That's a hell of a beat.
Using that point against him actually makes no sense here.
Right.
Dude, I don't know why you keep bringing this stuff up. Okay, he cheated on his girlfriend. His girlfriend.
It's funny because he really does, like, his impression of Crowder's rhetorical style is dead on. This is how this is how Crowder sounds to anyone who is remotely sane. Just dismisses one point to defeat his own other points.
Broke up with him, it's over with. We shouldn't be making jokes about it.
Look, listen, this isn't a contest, alright? Andy's malnourished, he's not in shape.
Why is the Cards Against Humanity deck there?
He's just overall not ready for any of this.
Fuck. Okay, what?
Andy Warski.
There we go.
Piece of garbage.
Yeah, everyone.
Well, you're wondering who Andy Warski is, and okay, he cheated on his girlfriend. His girlfriend broke up with him. It's over with. We shouldn't be making jokes about it.
Look, listen, this isn't a contest, alright? Andy's malnourished, he's not in shape, he's just overall not ready for any of this that's about to come to him, okay? Tonka is a superior athlete and he's just gonna win the contest, hands down.
Bro, this is not a deflection from underage girls. I don't think Andy is attracted to underage girls.
But the contest, so they're gonna have an athletic contest,
All right,
right?
clearly this isn't going anywhere. Do you even watch Andy Warski's show?
I mean, I saw the kill stream, but...
You watched the kill stream?
Yeah.
Really? Is that... You watched the kill stream? They're not very,
What's wrong with that?
They're not very inclusive.
Inclusive? I mean, like...
Yeah!
Jesus, that's so sad, man. How bad was the autism?
Jesus, Andy. Well, I would assume by this point you've picked up on the joke at hand, where you're wondering who Andy Warski is, and if it is the latter, you should probably click off the video now because it'll save you from the experience of what is essentially being exposed to a stuttering Alex Jones who isn't funny and actually means what he's saying.
What? You called him a chimp? And I really definitely... Yeah, everyone, 1488. 1488, spam chat. It takes the black woman to be like, oh, let me get this motherfucker.
Well,
Get
yeah,
out of
because
here.
you know if a white fucking person Person actually fucking dragged this dumb little black ass off of there. All the fucking black people at Chuck E. Cheese would chimp the fuck out and start fucking rioting.
That would be Geek Thulu, ladies and gentlemen. Being Geek Thulu.
And tried to attack her.
They're like, oh wow, cool. No, I'm known as Sargon of Akkad. Can we get Al Borland?
Fucking white. That's what you are, you shit fuck. You fucking piece of garbage. By the way, I'm gonna link our stream.me.
The current standing of the warpath is exactly what you'd expect from a show run by a... Andy Warski.
The guy that had to have the state intervene.
Team, I'm so sorry for criticizing
Mentally disabled women.
To attack her.
They're like, oh wow, cool. No, I'm known as Sargon of Akkad. Can we get Al Borland?
Fucking white. That's what you are, you shit fuck. You fucking piece of garbage. By the way, I'm gonna link our stream.me.
The current standing of the warpath is exactly what you'd expect from a show run by a disgraced host with a newfound drug addiction who was introduced to the ethno-state by a French-Canadian who only fucks mentally disabled women.
What the fuck is going on today?
Made love to a 19-year-old retarded girl and she enjoyed it. He's almost right.
No,
I'm sorry, Andy. This is the guy you want on your team. I'm so sorry for criticizing you. This guy's fucking comedic gold, Andy. He's comedic gold. What was I thinking? Chris Warski, you suck.
JF is the guy that had to have the state intervene because he was too busy fucking retards. What the fuck is that about?
So are you asking Jeff or me?
I'm asking you because I don't know any of this backstories, and I want to get your take on what the fuck what's being put out there.
And well, that's a mouthful, and I'm assuming that's not what JF's victim said. No, and the second half of that sentence actually had a profound impact on the show itself.